Hello again. It's freezing degrees out. But that doesn't matter because I'm here to talk about more Max BTS bullshit. Alright, so we've had the weekend to sit through and simmer and watch the Reddit implode and to watch shitters and Zerg fits who can't play the game without Maxes cry and really miss the entire point that I tried to make in the last video. It's the fact that whenever you provide relevant feedback in this game, you always have to remember that no matter how good your feedback is or how relevant it is or how well structured it is or how well thought out it is or how rational and logical it is, it still has to go through the Rel Processor 9000. And more often than not, the Rel Processor 9000 is incapable of parsing relevant and critical feedback. So what usually happens with that feedback is it goes in his ear and then it goes directly down out of his ass and he shits it out and then he does whatever he wants to do anyway. And I think for this particular change, it went in his ear, it went in his brain for about 4 seconds, and then it started to get, you started to see steam come out because there's just absolutely no way we can nerf anything related to awful shit tier players. Something that they have to rely on to play the game. So, yeah, you know what? Let's nerf the headshot multiplier for TR and VS maxes. Even though shitters don't headshot, people like me and Landwhale headshot people with blue shifts and mercies and stuff. Okay? I don't remember the last time I was headshot killed by a max player. The average max player is about Lanzer or Mr. Highfield tier. How many headshots are they going for? Oh, and statistically, you can go look up how often the average max user headshots people and gets kills with them anyway. We're going to do what is basically a nanoweave normalization on the NC max fucking shotguns. You know how nanoweave was the 20% resistance to small arms was taken out of the game almost a year ago, and you still had the same damage model from before that. You know how the other shotguns in the game got normalized and had about 20% damage nerf? Oh yeah, remember that? Oh, I don't know how you guys thought that wasn't going to come eventually, but of course shitters don't ever think that whatever overpowered, overtuned thing that they're running around with all the time, it can't ever be touched. It's not allowed to be touched. You can't touch my shit. What else? Let's see, grinders and hacksaws. Did anyone actually still use grinders and hacksaws? Because every single fucking max I've died to in the last 2 to 3 years is either a scat cannon or a Maddox. So I don't know, man. Scat cannon's still going to be good, and at every relevant range, you can still one-shot somebody. So I guess massive nerf there. Where else do we go? Oh, the survivability. We got to talk a little bit about survivability because max revive has nothing to do with survivability. Do you know why? Okay, because you when you are dead and need to be revived, that happens after you already have not survived, right? So removing max revive from the game, or getting rid of it, has no effect on survivability. Survivability of a max is how much effective HP do I have? How much damage do I take from this? How much damage do I take from that? That's survivability, right? That you could also pair that with what's the repair rate on me from an engineer tool or something like that. And that was one of the things that was on the table that we didn't get. That would have been nice to see. So survivability. Also in this patch, there's a big opportunity cost thing where you can, for some reason, I don't know why you would never fucking not wear ordnance armor as a max. I guess all the people that say maxes are super easy to kill are these fucking retarded shitters that run around with kinetic armor or the auto. I mean, I've used auto repair before, but ever since Berserker was put in the game, there's no reason to use that really. Let's see, kinetic armor. I mean, even with kinetic armor, you watch the way some of these guys play max, and it's some retard who goes and stands in front of 60 people in a hallway and gets fucking melted. And then he's like, the max sucks. I just can't do anything with the max. I don't know how you guys think it's overpowered. Look, man, just because you can't use the thing or you're fucking just bad at the game in general has no bearing on whether it's balanced or not. Just because you can't use something properly doesn't mean that you have a completely distorted view of reality. And taking feedback from people who can't fucking use the item, your feedback is by definition less valuable. You don't even know how to use it properly. So how am I going to then change metrics or change numbers or adjust values on a fucking thing that you have clearly distorted the reality of? Okay? It doesn't work that way. And at the end of the day, with these max changes, the nerfs that I mentioned, the same people that are bad and shitty in maxes are still going to be bad and shitty in maxes. There's not going to be a drastic fall off. And on from there, you have the ordnance thing, which I don't know why you would wear that. I don't know why you would choose to wear the ordnance, or not the ordnance thing, the fucking orbital strike suit slot. Why would you ever wear that? I mean, you might be able to survive an orbital strike, but you're giving up ordnance armor, which is de facto, you gotta wear it. Honestly, with the amount of fucking explosions and shit in the game, and explosives and all that stuff, it's just, you have to wear it. I'm not sure who the fuck's supposed to, I don't know. I don't know who's supposed to wear that. I guess if there's some situation where the people you're playing against in your little fucking retarded point hold battle don't understand how to use C4, or you're not getting splashed by anything, any kind of explosives or grenades, I guess then you could get away with using that orbital strike shit. Maybe, I don't know. But other than that, I guess what I'm doing here is I think people are really overblowing the nerfs. I don't think maxes are nerfed that much. Their damage output hardly been touched, especially relevant for shit players. Your damage output is not touched at all. Damage output for guys like me and Landwell and those guys on blue shifts and mercies, yeah, we took a little bit of hit, but we're just going to play around it slightly and do the exact same thing. And the big fucking elephant in the room is, you reduced, or you got rid of revives, right? And then you lowered the nanite cost by 100 for no reason at all, except in the Rel Processor 9000, you can't actually nerf something without, I don't know, randomly and arbitrarily changing a value. And for those of you guys who are downplaying what 100 nanites in reduced cost does, it effectively doubles, that's times 2, doubles the pull rate that a regular shitter can pull a max. Okay? There's a great thread, and I was talking about relevant and good feedback earlier. GamerDJ on Reddit posted a fucking research paper that details all the problems with reducing the cost from 450 to 350. And it's a pretty good read. Now, if you're a complete retard and you can't read, or you have reading comprehension problems, or you're just going to do mental gymnastics until the end of the day, and you can't accept that it's a negative, it's a downside, especially in a patch that is supposed to nerf maxes, or how did he put it in the notes? Reduce the lethality and longevity of the unit on the battlefield. Okay, you reduced the lethality slightly, but not in any way that really makes a huge difference. And it certainly wasn't by double. You didn't reduce their lethality by double. You didn't reduce their survivability by double. You didn't do any of that. You got rid of revives, okay, but then you doubled the pull rate. I don't know if anybody in the RPG studios did the math on this. Doubling the pull rate, and by the way, doubling the pull rate is considering that the person does not have boosts, any kind of nanite boost or anything like that. That's the standard shitter. So, yeah, that's a problem. One other thing I want to touch on is the mouth breather rhotic speech disability, or not, the speech impairment zealous came and posted a bunch of he posted a comment on my last video, and he was complaining about shit that he was complaining about shit that I clearly talked about in like within the first 2 minutes of the video. So he obviously didn't watch the video. I pinned his comment on the last video, but so you all can go see the exchange that we had. But he brought up, and he kept bringing up the anecdote about point holds and the people in the point not being able to revive their maxes. And now they're not going to be able to fight back, right? They're not going to be able to fight back against the people pushing onto the point that still have maxes. Well, I was thinking about that, and immediately I'm like, look, man, I kept telling him, it's not my problem that you guys can't play the game without maxes, okay? And why don't you just adapt and tell other people to just counter the max like you tell everybody else when been talking about nerfing the max for however many years now? So what you're saying to me is that the tools that you have available in that point and that point hold to counter maxes aren't good enough, and that you're going to lose anyway to the maxes. Why are you telling me that? And if you have to have maxes to counter maxes, I know you don't understand that you're making this point, but the point you're making is that maxes are overpowered and they're not balanced. When you have to have the thing to counter the same thing, that's called a balance problem. I know this maybe completely blows your mind, but that's how it's always been. So yeah, I don't really care about your anecdote about shitters doing point holds. I know that's the only way that you guys can play the game, and you're stuck in the room because you're not good enough to kill people and push people and create space for yourself and move out, right? But that's not my problem, and it's not the developer's problem to balance around either, okay? So at the end of the day, this patch, unless he takes that critical feedback that's actually, you can't argue that that's what it does. That's what it does. It doubles the pull rate. So look, Rel, it's on you, man. You need to get rid of that stupid fucking change you did with the nanite cost reduction. It needs to go back to 450 before you do anything else. Get rid of that dumbass change. It was a stupid change when you made it. It made no sense to anyone, and it's clear to anyone that can think that you went in and did that willy-nilly and didn't think about it at all. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. See you guys in the comments.